You know what's funny, guys, is ever since I took down a few videos to help my channel get monetized, one of the videos that I've had uploaded that is sharing monetization, because it's a video a lot of other people have also uploaded here on YouTube and various other video uploading sites, is the Sabrina Skunk short Remote Possibilities. And why the reason I say that is because it recently has become one of my top videos that I have on my channel, and it's helped me monetize in a huge way, or at least get some revenue, sharing the revenue with Eric W. Shorts anyway, like everybody else does that posts the animated short. you know it's helping me get a lot of revenue, which I do appreciate, along with my flip grip video where I talk about the flip grip attachment that you could put on the back of your phone here. So anyway, though, getting back to Remote Possibilities, and it being a Sabrina Skunk short, it's a short that came out around the mid to late 90s, and it's not the only short that she was in. She was in a couple of other shorts, I think, and I think one of them was Plight of the Artist, and I'm sure there was another one, I just can't think of it. But they're really funny, and you can definitely tell they're inspired by the artistic look of Animaniacs and Tiny Toons. I mean, if you take a look at one of the characters, Amy the Squirrel, you can tell that her design is heavily lifted and inspired by Minerva Mink. You could see that. And if you don't believe me, check out A Walk in the Park, which is also here on YouTube and various other places, and you'll see exactly what I mean. Anyway, like I said, Remote Possibilities is a video that's getting me a lot of revenue, sharing revenue, that I really appreciate. And I really appreciate that Eric W. Shorts is allowing people like me to, post his animated shorts out there for others to see, because, obviously he's a fan of animation like the rest of us, and he likes to obviously get more exposure for his characters and for his ideas, and inspire others out there that have similar ideas by having these shorts be shared. Now, Sabrina, of course, is his tutorial character, his main character, basically his Mickey Mouse, if you will, of the Sabrina-Online website and franchise. And this website, along with the webcomic and the franchise, has been going on since 1996. And that's a long time. In fact, I think I was just beginning my junior year in high school when he started doing the webcomic. And the webcomic, like I said, has been going on ever since then. Yeah, it's been going on ever since then. Now, of course, like with any popular webcomic, when you get to a certain time frame, you want to take a majority of the webcomic strips that you've posted online and find another way to distribute them to the masses and get more exposure for your characters. One of those ways that he did is, of course, through books. This is one of the first books that he did. This is a decade in black and white. This was published, I think, in 2007, 2006, I believe. Or 2012, actually. It was published in 2012. But it collects basically the first 10 to 11 years of the Sabrina comics that were on Sabrina-Online.com. And it's pretty cool because it does follow and basically an endless continuity. In other words, nothing is jumped, is shark jumped, if you will. Nothing is shark jumped. Nothing is avoided, ignored. It's all one seamlessly endless continuity. And like right here, you have the moment where Amy and then even Zig-Zag kind of acknowledge that, Sabrina, got it done, if you know what I mean. Basically got laid, as they would say, got it done, took the trip to Space Mountain and beyond, if you will. So, yeah, this collects basically the first 10 to 11 years of comic strips. And then, in 2017, he followed it up with The Tale of Two Decades. and this is essentially continuing on where the other book left off, because this went and did years and went from year 1 to year 10, basically chapter 1 to chapter 10. And instead of doing years, this one decided to go the chapter route out with it, you know, by showing you that in the index. It decided to go into the chapter route and start exploring more of what we have today. Like one of the covers that he had was, let's see, Zig-Zag discovering the internet, or at least online videoing, webcamming, if you will, for the first time. That was the cover to one of the stories, and that's the one thing he would do with some of his next comic strips or or basically stories that would be within the same continuity. He would create a cover for them to basically you know, like this is a cover for the next chapter to basically give you an idea of what you're in store for. Now, what I do like here is one of the covers he does give, if I can look, is it's called Chapter 19, Delving Deeper, and it shows a young Sabrina and a young Zig-Zag. So it kind of like hints at the fact that perhaps they ran into each other, but they just didn't know it. So, because they were too young. But yeah, this gathers up the next decade or so, you know, next 9 to 10 years, which is pretty cool. And then they also have a new one that came out called Baby Steps, which continues on and incorporates stories like homecoming and stuff like that. Basically, you know, Sabrina being pregnant, going through that phase, giving birth, and then coming home, I think. So that it basically collects those first couple of stories of the new chapter, if you will, the new era, if you will, in the Sabrina comics, the new chapter, new era. Now, what's also interesting about this as well is Eric has what's known as Fur After Dark, which is meant for more mature adult audiences. And what he does sometimes is he takes certain side stories. Like there's a side story, I think, in here. I think there's a side story in here where basically, let's see, what is it? What is it? I know it's in here somewhere. But basically, it's a side story that, let's see where it takes place in. I'm trying to see. Oh yeah, it takes place after this. So, see, where does it take place at? I'm trying to see here. Hold on, guys. So it basically let's see. So it basically, I'm trying to find it here. I don't know if it's on this page or it says 14. So, okay, so we'll look at, I don't know what that would be. But let's see. Oh, here we go. So it'll be chapter 14, I think. Hold on, guys. Here it is. So yeah, that's the cover basically, where she discovers the webcam and all that, and what she can do. And basically, what happens is she gets, of course, this being Zig-Zag, of course she gets trolled she gets trolled a little bit. So what does she ended up? So she ends up going on a mission looking for the troll, and she ends up getting in trouble. At least, yeah, she ends up getting in trouble a little bit. But as I was trying to say, what Eric does with his Fur After Dark series at times is, from what I understand, is he creates a separate adult, more mature webcomic, and I mean more mature webcomic, that sometimes ties in to some of the stories. Like one of the webcomics that he did that's more mature and more for adults, and I mean really more for adults and more mature, is called Adventure Begins at Home. And this basically is a side story that takes place within the same continuity as to, as chapter 14, where Zig-Zag later on starts getting trolled by people that basically feel that the internet is only meant for, people of certain taste, if you know what I mean, of the adult entertainment general, if you will. So she goes on a hunt looking for them, and Adventures Begins at Home is a story, a side story that takes place within that story arc. But like I said, it's a more mature adult side story that that this takes place in, that obviously should be viewed only by adults and more mature audiences, if you know what I mean. But anyway, though, yeah, he has this Fur After Dark series that sometimes, as I mentioned, will take certain plots from the Sabrina comic and tie them in, kind of tie up the loose ends, if you will, if it deals with more mature adult situations, which I do expect to happen real soon when it comes to his most recent comic that he is still currently working on and kind of wrapping up. And that is Skunk's Day Out. Now, Skunk's Day Out actually began, I think, around early, like mid-summer, late summer last year. And it's starting to conclude this year. Yeah, it's starting to conclude this year. Now, of course, there were some delays because obviously with the pandemic and other personal things going on in his life. But Skunk's Day Out is starting to wrap up. And it's actually an interesting story because basically what it entails is Zig-Zag plans this, this lady Skunk's Day Out only at amusement park for herself, for Sabrina, for Danielle, who is Sabrina's baby girl, for Indora, which is Sabrina's mom, and the two Skunk sister twins, who are very insensual, if you know what I mean, insensual. So she plans the day out for them, and another character tags along, but she has to disguise herself as a skunk to tag along with them, and that is Sheila Vixen. So anyway, you can imagine that shenanigans do take place throughout this. Now, it also allows us to see a bonding moment between RC, which is Sabrina's boyfriend / husband, if you will, and father of Danielle, and Sabrina's father. So we get to see a bonding moment between them when it comes to, like, current game consoles and stuff like that, and pizza and all that. But it mostly focuses on the girls at the park. And you do get some moments between them. You get some good character developing moments, like with the Skunk twins, or the Skunk sisters, if you will. You end up getting some character development from them when Sabrina actually entrusts them to watch Danielle, where she goes with her mom and Tabitha, and I think even Zig-Zag on some rides at the amusement park. And then, speaking of the Skunk twins, after Sabrina comes back and retrieves Danielle for them and thanks them for helping out, they decide to wander off and go do their thing with each other and anybody else that they encounter. And let's just say the way they do the thing is they hide in a bush and, kind of camouflage, hide each other, they basically hide and camouflage each other within a bush and start doing the thing, if you know what I mean. And anytime a security guard or somebody notices some rustling and giggling coming from the bush, the girls instantly, because they're in that mood, you know, grab that person and bring them in. And it doesn't matter if it's a male guard, doesn't matter if it's female guard or whatever, they bring them in to join the fun. So it's one of those situations. It's one of those moments, if you will. Basically, think along the lines of that rosebush scene in Wonderful Life, where Donna Reed's character hides in the rosebush to avoid embarrassment, if you will. And you see the rosebush just shaking and all that, representing where she's at, acting basically like Donna Reed's character, Mary, got absorbed and became one with the rosebush. It's kind of the same here with the Skunk twins, if you will. They basically, and let me see what the Skunk twins' names are. Hold on, guys, just for a second. Hold on. But yeah, basically, it's kind of the same thing with these with the Skunk twins, if you will. Let's see. I'm trying to see here. Let me try something else. Let me try something else, guys. Hold on. But anyway, like I said, it basically, like I said, they kind of do the thing in the bush, and they grab, and anybody that notices something going on in the bush, they just grab them and have them join in on the fun. So I've got a feeling, you know, speaking of Fur After Dark, where, like I said, the adventure begins at home, which ties into chapter 14 of this book. You know, internet is for adult entertainment, or porn stars, as they call it. I'll just say it, porn stars. Basically, here we go. This is, they should tell me in a moment. Stacy and Tracy Taylor. Stacy Skunk and Tracy Taylor. Oh, they're girlfriends, not sisters, but, you know, they're preferred to as the Skunkette sisters, but, you know, they're not related. I'll put it that way. But anyway, like I said, they decide to go off and do the thing after Sabrina thanks them for watching Danielle. And like I said, anybody that encounters notices some rustling coming from the bush that they're hiding in doing the thing gets pulled in to join the fun. Now, throughout the comic and still going on, you do get some moments between characters. You get a moment between Sabrina and her mom, some very realistic and relatable moments. You get a moment between Zig-Zag and Tabitha, who is now aged up a little bit, because obviously they're going not just through the same continuity that began in 1996, but they're also going with a timeline, with a real-time timeline, if you will. So, you know, Tabitha obviously is now like, I guess 12, about 13, 14, about, just about there, if you will. So she's getting ready to go through that, if not already starting that rebellious stage, that sassy rebellious stage. Anyway, getting back on point here. Basically, you get a moment between her and Zig-Zag. You get a moment between Zig-Zag and Sabrina later on, after they go to a bar to kind of relax, relax, kind of cool down a little bit, you know, have a drink here and there, except for the Skunkette sisters and Sabrina and even Tabitha mostly. But everybody else has a drink. So you have some nice, you know, character developing moments in this story. And it gets really interesting. I'll put it this way. It gets really interesting towards the end, when they're coming home and everything, because Zig-Zag remains at the bar because, you know, she obviously realizes, hey, I can't drive in this state or something's going to happen. So Sabrina's the one that drives home because her mom, you know, is a heavy drinker, drinks, it only takes like a few glasses of wine or strong wine or something like that to knock her out. Um, you know, so like I said, you get some nice moments, you know, even after after they're done at the amusement park and they're coming home, you know, and speaking at the time at the bar, you know, Tabitha goes and plays some games, and obviously tying it with the times, she doesn't think the games are, you know, worth playing, ain't it, or anything, and still she starts doing it, and she starts realizing, hey, wait a minute, you know, I only died after a few you know, only died after one shot, and this takes a quarter, you know, and she tells Sabrina, hey, you better tell mom I'm gonna need more quarters if I'm gonna beat this thing. Because now she's realizing that just like, you know, RC realized in his bonding moments with Sabrina's dad back at home, that classic arcade games or Atari games, if you will, can be a lot more trickier and harder than you can imagine or you think. Tabitha basically starts feeling the same way here. And what happens is, and what happens is Tabitha's telling Sabrina, you know, because you know she's acting towards Sabrina like, this game's probably not, it's gonna be a pushover. I'll beat this within that. And then when she dies, all of a sudden it's like, whoa, this is a lot trickier than I thought. Sabrina, tell mom I'm gonna need a lot more quarters. And you got this, and you have Sabrina just standing there going like, you know, you see, I was right. You think it was that easy. Anyway, you get some, like I said, you get some great character developing moments for all of them. I mean, like I said, with Zig-Zag and Tabitha, you got like a nice character developing moment between them. You know, Tabitha is asking Zig-Zag a certain question and all that about certain things, and Zig-Zag's kind of like Zig-Zag's kind of taken aback by that, and she tries to, I guess, in a friendly kind of term, explain, you know, maybe try to give an answer as to what, you know, Tabitha wants to know. And anyway, just some great overall fun moments, character developing moments, and all that for everyone involved in Skunk's Day Out. But then, as I said, as we get towards the end, which is still being worked on, it's still a WIP, because he just recently posted on Patreon and will be posting later on Sabrina-Online.com, page 68, page 68. Basically, we get some great character developing moments. You know, we get them coming home, and in page 68, we get a focus on the parents, on Sabrina and Tabitha's parents. And basically, the dad, Sabrina's dad, asks Endora, Sabrina and Tabitha's mother, if, you know, they think, you know, if she thinks Zig-Zag is a good influence on Tabitha, because the dad's noticing that Tabitha's a little bit more sassy than she usually is, and you know, Endora has to, you know, and he's wondering what happened. Did anything make her upset? And Endora's got to be like, no, all she did was spend the day shopping with her sister and riding and enjoying rides with Zig-Zag, and he's basically like, honey, do you think maybe Zig-Zag's not the best influence for Tabitha? And Endora's like, Endora being the mom, you know, has to be being the mom and also being close friends with Zig-Zag, because Zig-Zag and Endora brought a side out of each other that each didn't know about. You know, like for Zig-Zag, it's a more adult, contemporary, mature, like understanding side, you know, for like family and family values and motherly values and all that. Basically a respect that, you know, obviously she's had, but it's never really, you know, brought to the forefront. And Zig-Zag has brought out a side of Endora that's more like, kind of, hey, let loose a little. It's okay to let loose and not be so, you know, tight. Not so, you know, tight and old school, or you know, set in your ways. You know, you can be a little loose and a little bit more free if you want to be. So that's pretty cool. that's pretty cool and everything. Um, but like I said, Endora, being being very close friends with Zig-Zag now, you know, believes that Zig-Zag's not being a bad influence or anything. And while she's saying this, we see Tabitha getting ready for bed, and she gets in front of the bathroom mirror. I think to it's connected to her room, which I think which is basically her bathroom. I guess I don't know. But anyway, we see Tabitha in the bathroom getting a comb and literally taking it to her hair and restyling her hair in the style of Zig-Zag. So so yeah, and basically what you see is her looking back at herself with her new hairstyle, her new Zig-Zag inspired hairstyle, which is basically the same hairstyle. And you see the half closed eyes, half closed eyelids, and the smile, and basically, as somebody said in the comment section on Patreon, yep, she's a little Zig-Zag. So overall, the story is not too bad. So overall, the story is actually pretty good. Skunk's Day Out, which is currently still going on. So I suggest you check it out at Sabrina-Online.com if you haven't seen it yet, unless you are a Patreon subscriber to Eric W. Short's Patreon page, which is just one of them. His Sabrina Squad, his Sabrina-Online one. But again, I suggest checking it out because it's actually a pretty good story. Like I said, it's got great character development for all the characters involved. It's got some great shenanigans. I mean, Sheila Vixen, like I said, she tags along because she wants to be part of the fun. She doesn't want to be left out, so she disguises herself as a skunk. But the moment she gets splattered with water, the paint or the hair dye that she disguised herself with washes off, and she ends up getting chased by a bunch of people that think she's being a racist. She's being, she's basically doing a certain thing that happened, decades ago, generations ago, that's still looked at as being offensive and not right to do, even in today's culture. So she's basically being chased down, or chased literally out of the park. She's being chased literally out of the park. But she does catch up with them later on to go shopping and then, I guess, spend time at the bar. But she's literally chased right out of the park because her disguise is ruined and she literally has to run for her life, if you know what I mean. And then you have Endora talking with Stacy and Tracy at the bar and obviously questioning, what they're doing, wondering why they're doing it, questioning why they do it. And obviously she must have said something that made them leave and made them leave to kind of rethink, okay, does she have a point, or are we just, overthinking things on what she said or whatever. Again, the story's not done yet, but I'm pretty sure later on we'll get a resolution to a lot of it. As far as, Zig-Zag after the park and after the bar, she remains there until basically her close friend with, benefits, if you will, her bisexual close friend, comes to her aid and helps her out and basically drives her home. What she does, and this is really interesting, and I'll try to find it here. Hold on, guys. I'll try to find it. I'll try to find it here without showing anything. Here we go. Tina, that's her friend's name. Tina the Lynx. And yeah, what happened here is she calls Tina to come pick her up, but Tina has to take an Uber halfway to Cincinnati just to go pick her up and drive her home in her own car. Because, like I said, Zig-Zag obviously had a little too much, kind of like Endora had a little too much, so she can't, drive back like normal. So Tina had to go and get her. And let's just say, because she's a best bisexual friend with benefits, let's just say they have a little fun afterwards. when they get home. Basically, Tina takes advantage of the fact that, yeah, you're still a little hungover, not too much, but I'm not missing out on this opportunity, if you know what I mean. So yeah, you get a good moment. So you get a nice little ending there for her for right now until later on. But yeah, Skunk's Day Out as of right now is a really interesting character developing story for all of them. And like I said, it looks like Tabitha's role is going to start growing a lot more, and she might be the central focus for the rest of the comic or for whatever the next comic is, because of the fact that basically she looks up to Zig-Zag, and it looks like she's taking after Zig-Zag with the hairstyling and all that. And so it's going to be interesting what the next chapter is going to be like. Again, if you're a Patreon subscriber to Eric like I am, then you'll know about it probably within the next month or so. But if not, then you'll probably find out within a couple of days after it's released on Patreon to see what the next chapter is like on Sabrina-Online.com. But yeah, I just wanted to come on here though, guys, and give you not just kind of an overview of Sabrina-Online.com and the story, and Sabrina the Skunk as a character, but also come on here and let you guys kind of catch you guys up on what's going on, give you an overview, sort of a semi-review overview on the current story arc, which is Skunk's Day Out, which is still going on as we speak. It's a continuation, basically. It takes place basically months later, maybe a year or two later. It's in the same continuity, but it takes place very much later after homecoming and Sabrina going through her pregnancy and giving birth to her and RC's daughter Danielle. And speaking of Danielle, you can tell that the daughter is going to have a lot of personality as she gets older. I mean, she already knows how to get on a phone and operate it and all that. So, in fact, that's one moment in that's one moment in Skunk's Day Out that happens. Sabrina basically comes and gets Danielle from Stacy and Tracy, and notices basically that Stacy and Tracy basically allow Danielle to play with the phone. Or I think it's Stacy that does. And what happens is when Sabrina goes to pick up Danielle, and basically give the phone back to the girls, she notices that, oh, by the way, it looks like my daughter ran up your credit card bill with little games here, and don't worry, I'll pay you back kind of deal situation. So it's a bit of a character developing moment for them, but also a learning experience. Like, oh, if you ever have kids down the line or adopt kids, whatever, you got to make sure that they don't run. You better make sure you put a child safety lock on your phone so they don't run up your bill or something like that with games. So yeah, you can tell that the daughter, though, even in this comic, is going to have a bit of a personality if, as time goes on, the comic continues within real time and within the same continuity and all that. But overall, I do recommend checking it out. Go to Sabrina-Online.com to see it if you're not a Patreon user. But if you are, I highly recommend, if you haven't caught up yet to the comic on Eric's Patreon page, if you are a subscriber to him, definitely check it out. You will appreciate it. There's also another book out that he has. I think I mentioned this at the beginning, called Baby Steps, which takes place, during the pregnancy and the birth of Danielle. And basically, it's basically the next book that takes place after this. So I am going to plan to get that eventually. But again, overall, this is a good continuation. This is just one of the best examples of a good continuation with the comic. And I can't wait to see more. And I do hope, honestly, guys, I do hope that Netflix or Amazon Prime or Hulu or HBO Max or Apple TV Plus, I hope one of them is paying attention to Eric W. Short's Sabrina series, because you know what? This is something that I truly believe you could do nowadays in an animated series. You could set it in 1996, and then if it's successful every season, you can maybe skip a few years or whatever you want to do. And I guarantee you people will like watching it. There'll be no doubt about that in my opinion. So that's all I'm going to say though, guys. Thank you all for watching. Really appreciate it. But yeah, check out Sabrina-Online.com. Check out the Skunk Stay Out webcomic currently going on right now. As well as, if you can find them online, check out the animated shorts, which really got Sabrina and her friends on the map. And again, I hope some streaming service out there, Netflix, HBO Max, Apple TV Plus, Amazon or Hulu, I hope one of them takes a stab at this as an animated series down the line, because I guarantee you, I believe it'll be a successful one for them if they do. But thank you all for watching. Really appreciate it. And I'll talk to you all later. God bless. Take care.